Last year's Spec Racer Ford race got off to a rough start with several cars coming together even before the start line. Pole sitter Mike Miserandino, though, ahead of the mayhem, led the field. On the restart, watch the battle for second as Brian Schofield in the silver and blue 61 snuck by Jordan Gore. Further back in the pack, Wade White battling with Rick Bartuska took a wild ride. The battle behind the leader never let up with number 17 John Black sliding through into third. While Miserandino won it, behind him it was a photo finish for third as Black held on. For Miserandino, it was his second consecutive championship. Spec Racer Ford is always one of the most well-subscribed classes at the runoffs, and the reason is, with the cars being virtually identical, it truly is all about the driver. The last couple of years, it's been about one driver in particular, Mike Miserandino, gold in 06 and 07. This season, he has 5 wins, including the June sprints and a divisional championship. He may well get a third straight, but he's got to deal with the guy who ended up with silver last year. Brian Schofield has had a tremendous year of his own in the Southeastern Division with 7 wins and also the pole at the prestigious June sprints. But if raw speed is key, maybe it'll be John Black's year to repeat after his gold in 2003. It's his 19th runoff, and over the years he's had 5 poles and 4 fast laps, and this year has won the Northern Pacific Division with 4 wins.
Greg, picking a winner in this class is literally like throwing a dart at a board. It could land on anybody's number here this weekend. Jordan Gore narrowly missed out on a podium finish here in 2007. He's had 2 wins this year, so the title could certainly land his way. Nick Evans dominated his division with 6 wins. Third time at the runoffs could be a charm for this young man who has shown blazing speed throughout 2008. And Andrew Charbonneau is always a contender. Brian Schofield's teammate will be looking to follow him to a podium finish. A multi-class endurance driver is one of the most consistent drivers in the field today.
The first day of the 45th running of SCCA's National Championship runoff continues. Spec Racer Ford, one of the most hotly contested, intensely battled championships of all, about to unfold here in Heartland Park, Topeka. Great to have you with us, everybody. We are looking forward to a phenomenal race here. This class started off in 1985 as the class called Spec Racer, originally running with Renault engines. Then in 1993, it became Spec Racer Ford. And it has always been one of the most exciting and intense races to unfold at any national championship runoffs. It's great to have you with us. We are looking forward to a great race. And Cal, it's going to be on a challenging track for these cars.
It really is. Heartland Park Raceway is a real challenge for these Spec Racer Fords, which by design are pretty low horsepower. 2 high-speed sections through there, but on either end we have a lot of corners, and momentum will be the key for these drivers today. They have to be patient. They have to get good, clean exits.
And we're talking a little bit about these cars. Give us a little bit more of an in-depth look at them, Cal.
Well, it's one of 4 sports racing classes out there. They all run with a Ford engine, of course, and all on Goodyear tires. It's SCCA's largest class with over 800 cars still existing.
And they do put on a great show, and of course, things are always exciting down in the pit. So let's check in with John Bizignano.
Well, Jim MARINANGEL, he had a great year in 1993. He was the Spec Renault last year for Spec Renault champion at the Road Atlanta course last year for the championships being held there. Since then, he has never been back to the podium. He wants to do very well here to kind of make up for a bad season overall. He's only had 2 seconds, 2/3, and it's crashed out of 3 races. So he's looking to finish in the top 10 to kind of make a soft year end in a very positive way. Down to Justin Bell.
Well, everybody comes to the runoffs with some background in some form of sport, and for Hector de la Torriente, it actually came in the shape of being a teenage prodigy in offshore powerboat racing. He was actually too young to ever be given the throttles or the steering wheel in competition, but spent his life behind the wheel of boats. And I asked him, I said, obviously this racing must just be a lot easier. He said, well, in boats you used to get your body completely banged up, but in this, it's equally as challenging because these guys are not easy to race with. So I think you're going to see the number 76 car. He qualified just 2/10 out of the top 10. Very positive and a great story. Back to you in the booth.
Absolutely. This is fierce racing, and they don't mind banging fenders a little bit. These cars are sturdy, and sometimes that's the only way you get by is using a little bit of that chrome horn. So we're expecting some great excitement in the 18 laps of national championship action coming up. This class is one of the most intensely competitive, but ironically it has also produced one of the greatest streaks in the history of runoffs competition. Warren Stillwell winning 7 straight races and gold medals in this category. Our defending champion Mike Miserandino has won 2 in a row, and he is looking to maybe start his way toward a streak that is similar to that one. We'll see if he can pull that off as we are about to get underway. Now, the field here is 24 strong. It is a very solid field, very deep in terms of talent. We're going to show you that field off to the left. And Calvin, as you would expect in Spec Racer Ford, it's close. Absolutely, Greg. The top 10 are separated by less than 2 seconds, and the podium finishes here last year start just where they finished, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be exciting to watch them resume battle here once again. And right there in 9th is a guy to maybe keep your eye on, Jeff Beck, number 31. He's a bronze medalist in 2001. Back when they were racing even in Road Atlanta, in one of the events he had qualified outside of the top 20 and worked his way up into a top 5 spot. He has shown you can pass even if you're back in the pack a little bit, and that's good news for the man we've talked about before with John Bizignano. Jim Marinangel there, 19th. Tough qualifying effort, but you can work your way up just a little bit. But with the quality of the competition up front, it is so tough in this category, and it should be pretty interesting. Speaking of John Bizignano, let's check back in with him.
Well, listen, if you're sitting on the couch watching this, I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to me now. You can be doing this. You can get a Spec Racer Ford. You can get a showroom stock A, B, and C. Get off the couch. Many people have listened to me in the past, and now they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars enjoying themselves. Get off the couch. Think about it. Next year, not only watching, you could be watching this race, or you could be recording yourself in the race. Get off the couch. Join the Sports Car Club of America. Down to Justin Bell.
And if you actually do that, you might find yourself face to face with Ken Tripkos, who is in his still number 52 Spec Racer Ford. Now, with his helmet on and his blue and white car, he actually looks like just any other racer. But he is the guy that everybody goes to. In everyday life, he is SCCA Competition and Technical Director, which means anybody that thinks their car's too heavy, the other guy's too light, too much power, not enough power, they go to him. So if he does make it from 17th to right up at the front of the grid, he may have an even longer line of people lining up outside his office to wonder exactly why.
Yeah, there's little doubt that he gets lots of emails.
Yeah, that is a thankless task, I tell you, keeping all of these competitors happy.
But he does a great job, and since he's come on board with SCCA, he has seriously done a fabulous job, and they are a lucky organization to have people like that. But that's what makes SCCA so special, is the people that they put together and allow people to come out and enjoy a very special event like this. And you can see the field now queuing up, ready to go at this stage. Cal, we're into the early part of the afternoon. After a chilly morning and track temperatures, now we're starting to get some heat in this track.
Yeah, this should be ideal conditions for a great race here. The track temperature's up, and it's kind of an indication what we're going to see here, I think, in a little bit once we see the green.
I think Mike Miserandino said, no, I'm the pole sitter. I want the line I want. And Schofield watching it, and we are green. So we are underway. 18 laps of championship racing, and again, look at Schofield squeeze, and there's a bump, another one right there, already setting the stage. John Black, the blue and red Spec Racer, right behind that white and red one of Miserandino in the field, streaming down into turn 1. Very clean so far, Cal, but now it's 3 abreast. In the second part of that 1-2 complex, everybody good. Miserandino moves into an early lead. Oh, and a nice move there, picking up a spot. Yeah.
Nick Evans really having a great run this season in these Spec Racer Fords. He's going to make his mark here this afternoon, so he's up to 3rd. But Miserandino wanted that line down into turn 1, that very fast chicane. They're really not going to be using the brakes much there at all in these cars. So he's got a good clean start, and Nick Evans already got around John Black.
Yeah, he's pulled into 3rd in that black and Dayglow pink and green car, then black, and right behind him is Jordan Gore. Oh, and Jeff Beck squeezed over the curbs by the gentleman who just looped it there. Can't quite pick up the number. That is the 76 of Hector De La Torriente that Justin Bell talked about earlier. So he's put himself in a bit of a hole and really going to have to charge up through the pack big time. Now watch it here, Cal.
They just come down into that corner and suddenly he goes for the inside, and there's some action right in front of him. I'm not sure if he got nudged from behind or not, or just turned it around himself.
Well, he dropped to the back in this class. It is tough work to come up, and there he goes. Whoa, big loose, throwing it around. But at this point, you can't leave anything on the table.
No, he's going to be charging hard. That is very frustrating. He's got to get it back on the tail of that pack there and try and get some kind of draft down this long front straightaway. So the front two have pulled away a little bit. Nick Evans settled down into third spot right now.
Well, and then there's this battle for fourth. Look at John Black. There's been contact. Black, the radiator opening on the front of that blue number 17 has been crimped. And that can, if it's too much, that can start to create some overheating. That's Jordan Gore right alongside in the number 15, the guy that Black pipped right at the line last year. Oh, and Schofield took a run at Miserandino, and Miserandino loose.
It's really tricky through that corner. There's a crest there in the road. When you go over that, if you catch it wrong. And here he comes to the inside. Schofield looking for a way by. Miserandino feeling the heat early here. Let's take another look at that. The two leaders, they come down into that chicane. Schofield looks to the inside. This pushes Miserandino out a little bit wide, and then he gets sideways up over that crest. When he flicks it back the other way, the Scandinavian flick, he wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah, those two now have about a 5-length lead over third spot. Again, Nick Evans right there in the J Motorsports entry. Quietly a very effective weekend or event thus far in qualifying, and then that gap back to the 15 of Gore and then the 17 of John Black, who ended up with the bronze medal last year.
Evans has had a great season. He's won 6 of 7, and he's liking the fact these leaders are fighting.
There's number 7, Lee Fleming, with number 22, Richard Baldwin, right behind him. And then right after that is 49, Carl Harris. Harris also a very quick driver. You can see some significant damage there for Richard Baldwin. And I think Baldwin may have been the guy that possibly got into the back of Toriente, because they were real close in the qualifying grid. That may have been part of the problem. There's a look at 7, Lee Fleming, who's been racing these machines for quite a while too.
62 years old, 13 times at the runoffs, twice finished on the podium, but yet to see the gold. He has a silver and a bronze to his name.
Third in the South Pacific Division this year. But sometimes that's just a matter of luck with the depth of field throughout the country. Over 800 of these, I think you mentioned, Cal, are still racing. So this is a very special class. There is the 67 of Andrew Charbonneau and the Cookie Monster Spec Racer Ford.
Sellenreich right behind these guys. He was really sliding it through that chicane there. Number 29.
And that's one of the things about Spec Racer Ford. You can look deep throughout the field and you will always find somebody that's hooked up with somebody else that's running a similar pace and has a great battle going. And when you're at the runoffs, we've said it time and again, even though I thought we might see a move there by the 58 of Cliff White. He was 4th in Spec Racer Ford in 2006. Even though it may not be for a medal, you're at the runoffs. And if you could pick up even one spot, that is something to be said. We'll be right back very early in the going.
Sometimes watching racing just isn't enough, I guess. And at last year runoff, Joelle Pence, his husband Steve, set a quite an unusual challenge, which was?
The challenge was this year we both make it to the runoffs, or neither one of us go. We both made it, but unfortunately Steve can't be here. His son's having surgery this week, so get well soon, Kevin. But he'll be in here in time to watch the race, cheering me on from the wall.
And your ambition is?
Well, I'm part of the Happy to Be Here club. My husband said it best last year when he said, when the honor of making it to the runoff wears off, the humility sets in. So I have decent goals this year, but next year hopefully I'll be finishing much higher.
Well, but still in all, to just qualify for the runoffs is that is pretty significant. And you can see she's been in some wars too. With that front grill opening has been pinned shut just a little bit, and that just happens with Spec Racer Ford. You race so close, and one of the reasons, Cal, is its momentum is so key in these cars. And oh, a big move here, 76. Toriente trying to work his way back up through the pack, just nips underneath Joel.
Yes, I mean, and that's what it's all about. You saw it there. He had more momentum coming through that chicane, made the move easily. He's recovering from that early spin, and here we're back up front with the leaders.
Well, Schofield's staying fairly close to Miserandino. Then that little bit of a gap is starting to bulge a bit now. That's why Evans suddenly slowing, and Jordan Gore just goes tearing by. Problem for Evans. There goes Black. Nick Evans in the J Motorsports entry is pulled off. He has a serious issue in that Buchholz Wall Systems machine. It looks like he's just going to park.
That is such a shame. He is a tremendous young driver. He's really juggling his school duties with 2 Classes racing here this weekend, and to go out early with a possible medal on the table is tough.
Meanwhile, Miserandino, Schofield has closed it up now to within about a car length. Oh, and a big shunt that's MARINANGEL. That is number 5, Jim MARINANGEL. That's a very fast section of track, Cal. That's up and over that rise down into the approach to the very quick left turn 10.
Yeah, that's after that fast, we call it a chicane. It's really just a fast S now, and you can see the damage to the back of the car. So he's not in a good spot there, and if that car is not mobile, we may see our first full caution of the weekend.
That's been pretty impressive thus far. The opening numbers of races have been caution-free, but you're right, this could be a big, let's see what happens. Oh, he got off.
He's wide. Let's see what happens there when he meets the road again. Gets into the 52. That turns him around, and he's going to have a heavy impact there. That's a big one. These cars are so safe. They're really built very well.
That's truly, that was one of the whole points of the design process, was to make sure that not only were they cheap to run, but that they were safe to run. And if you get into damage, and a number of times we've seen cars come together pretty hard, just continue on driving. And MARINANGEL fortunate to be racing that car after that kind of an incident here. As we take a look at Mike Miserandino, and that car, by the way, crew chief by Mark Ballenger. And Mike said that the thing that has made that so good is that Mark has found an incredible balance on this car for this Topeka track, and that's why they've been so effective. And in fact, now, Cal, it becomes official. We have our first full course caution of this 2008 National Championship Runoffs. And obviously you don't like to see it happen, especially with a hit like that. But now for guys like Jordan Gore and John Black, they get all that margin back as the field is under full course caution here. And we're going to go back, take one more look at the incident here. And MARINANGEL having a go, and Ken Tripkos and he just didn't work out. There's the spin, and into the wall he goes, and as a result, under caution, and we will be right back to Topeka. Spec Racer Ford always produces excitement. Sometimes it's in the form of just pure racing at the front. Sometimes it's in the form of action back in the pack. In this case, it's been the latter thus far, and the result is our first full course caution of this 2008 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Jim MARINANGEL having a fairly significant off. First running off of the track, going into that high-speed chicane, Calvin Fish, and then when he came back on track, a little bit of contact, and there you see MARINANGEL's car on the back of the wreckers here, the great course marshaling crew here at Heartland Park, Topeka, in the field under full course caution behind the VW pace car. And Mike Miserandino is the guy that is leading him around behind that pace car at this stage. There is MARINANGEL's machine, and we're going to go back, show it one more time, Cal, and just one of those unfortunate developments.
Yeah, it really is. You see him get wide there through the dirt and the fast chicane, and the 52 car did nothing wrong there at all. He was just going to buy on his own way there, and suddenly instant contact and turned the car into the fence hard. That is a big accident in one of these cars, as you can see. Major damage to the rear end and the front.
Well, when they run off, where they tend to come back on, that curb, the backside of that curve is obviously fairly abrupt. It tore the nose off, the splitter off of a production car earlier, and now it really threw MARINANGEL sideways. And as we watch Mike Miserandino, we mentioned his crew chief, Mark Ballengee, and I think Biz is with him.
I am with Mark. Mark, I got to ask you, you've been having a lot of conversation with Mike back and forth. I'm sure you're not happy to see the yellow flag come out.
No, we're not happy. Mike runs real consistent. He was settled in, and I think he was really running good. He says the car's good, and when you get in a rhythm, you like to stay in a rhythm.
Especially when everyone else is in your rearview mirrors. What kind of a person is he when it comes to restarts?
That's what he likes. That's what he's good at. Yeah, he'd rather be there than anywhere else.
Is he going to have to warm things up a little bit in the first lap back in competition, or is he just going to be able to go for it?
I think we're pretty much warmed up. They'll scrub tires here on this lap before we go to green, and I think all the cars are ready to go back.
Well, let's hope the second flag is just as good for you as the first one. Hey, Calvin, I've got to ask you, Calvin, what's it like? I mean, there you have, you know, maybe a 1 or 2 second lead in a very competitive class, and out comes that double yellow.
Well, he was certainly feeling the pressure from Schofield, Biz, so maybe he can just readdress things here and settle things down, get a new game plan. But when you're out front, you never want to see that cushion erased. But there's a big pack right behind these guys. They're going to attack them as best they can when they head down in that chicane for the first lap.
Well, and we often see a couple of things. One, sometimes if you're sitting behind the leader on a restart, you can reference him, get a bit of a run. And as our Dorsey Schrader often says, yellows beget yellows. So it's going to be sketchy. We'll be right back with it. Welcome back to Spec Racer 4 in the National Championship here at the Runoffs. Here's what's happened thus far at the start. You can already see the little bit of nudging going on, a little bit of dissuading and convincing here from 11, Mike Miserandino on pole, and 61, Schofield. Then a bit of a spin right there by the 76 of Hector De La Torriente. And then this attempt at a pass by Schofield, the door firmly shut by Mike Miserandino. You can see it got him loose. And then the reason we are currently under caution, Cal.
Well, you see it there again. MARINANGEL comes through the chicane, just gets on the dirt, and then runs straight into the side of Ken Tripkos, and major damage. He's very upset right now and frustrated. This is the 93 champ here in this class. Yep, that hurts a little bit to just be out of it and not even have a shot at maybe even cracking the top 10. You worked so hard all year to get here, and then that happens. And as Biz had alluded to, it's been a tough year anyway. And boy, it's just didn't end any better than it's been for a former champion, and you hate to see that. But nonetheless, we are now anticipating going green this time by. The field's starting to pick up some speed. You can see them now starting to do that serious scrubbing of tires. One for heat, but also, Cal, to clean those tires up. When you have to go around a crash site, sometimes you're running through the marbles and the junk. The marbles, especially when you get a caution like this and the tires are hot. If you run offline to get around the incident or whatever, suddenly you pick up all those little marbles, those little balls of rubber that have been spread across the racetrack. The track did a great job last night. I saw the sweepers out there for many hours cleaning this racetrack up. We've had a few races already today, so there you can see offline. So they'll try and clean those tires up. But Jordan Gore right now has been running fast lap times. He got gap from the leaders right now, so it may be an opportunity for him in the 15 car, currently running third, to make a go at things when we get the green flag. And you could barely see Schofield's nose. He was so close to Miserandino coming through those last couple of corners. He is tucked right there. The green flag is out. Let's see if Schofield can do anything. He is very close. That little bob and weave. Look at Miserandino protecting, just staying to the right, but he leaves an opening. It's Schofield on the dirt. You're over the curbing. Now can Miserandino hang on? No! Schofield comes across the nose and picks up the lead. Just what we talked about. And Jordan Gore going to take a run at Miserandino as well. Well, Miserandino now has to defend from that third spot as well, but what commitment by Schofield there. He had decided what he was going to do, and even having the door closed a little bit, he just used all of the curb and the grass and more. Fantastic stuff here on the restart. Here we see it again. Schofield down over the curbing, doesn't lift. He's got the inside land. Nothing that Mike can do now. Boy, he tried it, but just didn't have it work, that other angle on it. This is a high angle, and you can see that was an intense fight. Miserandino trying everything he could. But Schofield, I think you said it right, Cal, commitment. That's what that one was all about. So Schofield, remember, got the silver last year, now finds himself in front of Mike Miserandino. And the question would be, how's Miserandino going to deal with this? Is he okay to sit and follow just a little bit and let things settle, or is he going to come right back after him again? And will Jordan Gore now play a role in this battle as well? Looks like they've opened up about a 2-car length lead over Gore. Well, Gore finished 4th here last year. He'd love to get on the podium, and he wants to see these two guys fighting it out. Schofield now defending from Miserandino. Gore sitting right there. He is closed on the tail. He's going to be in a prime spot here when we get on this front straightaway to get a big draft off these two front runners. Well, we just heard a little bit ago from Mike Miserandino's pit. Now, Justin Bell, what's going on with the Schofields?
Well, obviously in the pit here, they're very excited. I mean, it was a great move there. He just took the lead, and that's part of his plan, get to the front straight away.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do on the as soon as possible on the first lap on the restart. Again, he tried it on the original start, didn't quite get it. Got it there on the second lap, the second restart.
was good. And so he's good under pressure. I mean, when you have someone behind you, it's an awful lot different from when you're trailing someone.
He seems to hold pressure quite easily. You know, he can stay out in front without any kind of problems usually.
Well, we've got a few more laps to tell. And by the way, I understand this chap, even if you lot don't. All right?
I get it too, Justin.
Yeah, well, we got Calvin up here too to interpret, so that's good. But the gist of it is he's got a lot of confidence in his driver, and you can see why. Schofield doing a beautiful job right now, holding Miserandino at bay. Once again, when there's enough of a gap between Schofield and Miserandino that Schofield can just drive it, they open up the margin a little bit over Gore. The minute that Miserandino catches Schofield and he defends, then that pack behind starts to close up. And speaking of the pack behind, going for 6th place, 71 is Trey Ayers, and he is currently in the 6th spot, and he is trying to get around and pick up that 5th spot from the 67 of Andrew Charbonneau. Well, he got a run on him, Cal.
He really did. This is great stuff. They're going to be side by side here in that very high-speed section, almost trading paint there.
No, it's not done yet.
Woo! Good stuff, and now the 29 car takes it through the dirt, but doesn't seem to lose any ground whatsoever.
Now it's Kenneth Sellenreich. Beautiful job of saving it there. I thought there was going to be a pretty good punt, and everybody was able to hang on pretty good. So Sellenreich, then the 67 of Charbonneau.
They have a pretty high ride height on these cars, so they can't run them too low, and that will allow you to go through the dirt a little bit without the normal damage you'd expect on a race car. So that's not the normal line, but we've seen it here before, Greg, where these guys will cut the racetrack a little bit.
And that purple machine in this scrum as well is the gentleman who was 4th in this class in 2006 here in Topeka, Cliff White, right in the middle. And then Jeff Beck coming on too, and oh, here we go. This is 67 now, Charbonneau. He's going to try and take the line and get by Sellenreich. He's got the inside and coming right with them. For a minute, looked like White was going to force the issue in the purple 58, but I think he thought better of that one.
Fantastic dice here. Andrew Charbonneau doing a tremendous job there, taking advantage of the run that he had down the front straightaway, grabbing that position for 6.
Yeah, you're looking at 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And the rest.
And 10th. Now it's come up in that one too. That's Carl Harris, that yellow number 49. This is what you see so often in Spec Racer 4. Just throw a blanket over these guys. Meanwhile, Miserandino, you see him just up front there. He's trying to run going into turn 6, and here is that battle. Sellenreich, with Charbonneau having gone through, Sellenreich is now under pressure from Cliff White pretty intently in that purple number 58. There's that battle.
These guys are just hooking up here. They're going to get a big draft running together like this. We talked about relatively low horsepower. That is by design. And when you can punch the air as one big group, you pick up a lot of straightaway speed.
Well, this battling is continuing. Charbonneau, throwing it around, having a fairly, let's call it 4-car length margin, and he'll like that. And here comes 31 Beck. It is great racing in Spec Racer Ford. The battle for the gold in Spec Racer Ford is well underway, past the halfway point here in this 2008 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Always one of the most intensely fought battles and one of the most anticipated races of any Runoffs championship, and it has not disappointed thus far. Battles throughout the pack, and up front that battle continues as well. In Spec Racer Ford, the run to the gold. And Miserandino has gone back around Schofield, and Schofield got back around Miserandino. That all happened just on the front straight. Miserandino had nosed ahead, Cal, but Schofield was able to take it back through 1 and 2, and they are almost side by side, exiting the carousel and up into 4.
And they're going to be 4 cars battling for the lead here shortly, because as these two duke it out, Jordan Gore is certainly climbing back onto the back of these guys. He had the fastest lap of the group here on the last lap, and John Black is right in the mix of this as well.
Black is campaigning a couple of classes, and he's on pole in one of the GT categories he's running. But let's go back now and show you what happened with that quick pass, repass, and lead exchange.
Schofield out front. Here comes Miserandino down the front straightaway. He's got more speed there, so he takes the stripe with the position. But Schofield's down to the inside as they head down towards the approach. This is where he took the lead before. Schofield on the inside. Look at Jordan Gore. He almost gets his nose in there as well on Miserandino.
And so it is now Schofield retaining the lead after that quick exchange. GORE right there, and now they've gapped Black just a little bit. And Black, Cal, watch him through here. That car, the blue one in the back, looks a little looser than these others. He's really throwing it around to maintain this level of speed.
He is. He's really giving it 1,000,000%. I don't think his car is hooked up as well as the top three right now, but he knows that he still has a chance to get on that podium. He's going to try and get back with this group and take advantage when they start to duke it out a little bit.
Completing lap 12 of 18, so 6 to go. And look at Schofield, what he's doing there with that little bob and weave is he's trying to shake Miserandino in terms of the toe. The draft in these cars so important, and hey, if it worked for Schofield, it might work for Miserandino.
Oh, Schofield's going to fight it though, side by side. He didn't let him have it.
Wow, what again?
Look at Jordan GORE right there, right on the tail of Miserandino.
He's going to take the look. It's going to go deep. No, he realized Miserandino was coming across. Boy, yeah, Miserandino dropped the tires like Schofield, but Schofield, talk about commitment. This guy,
yeah,
he is wanting this one
badly, and Jordan GORE is driving a tremendous race and very clean as well. Here you see it, Miserandino ducks to the inside. He thinks he's got it made, but Schofield just keeps his foot in it through that chicane, and watch Jordan GORE there. He's got all the momentum there as he comes off that corner.
Some great action here in Spec Racer Ford. I wonder if that Miserandino made that move a little bit later than Schofield did, and if that he didn't have quite the run he needed to really make it stick.
No, I think you're right, Greg. He did make the move a little bit later. He didn't get the draft as early, but this is great stuff. What we expected, of course, but it's certainly great action.
And the guy watching this battle between these two up front is Jordan GORE, and John Bizignano, a lot of the times he's right in the midst of it.
Well, he's definitely in the midst of it right now, and his mom, Karen GORE, is on the pit wall. Now, Karen, you're used to seeing your son mix it up. I mean, last year he qualified second, finished fourth, but you seem still very nervous.
Oh, that's just the mother in me. My boys are out racing.
But you have total confidence in him.
Oh, of course I have confidence. He started racing go-karts when he was 8 years old.
All right, so if you could give him some advice right now in the position that he's in, what would it be?
Just do what you do, because he's always good at it.
Do what you do and go faster. Okay, boy, that's a great pit, Mom.
Absolutely. Again, confidence in her son. She's watched him race for so long. Boy, and Schofield now, he is giving Miserandino zero opportunity to do anything down to the inside, protecting. Now that he's got Miserandino on his shoulder, he'll float out a little bit, but Miserandino might try this around the outside.
He does.
Not quite. And here comes GORE.
It gets you on the wrong line through that chicane, and now GORE gets a run on me. He's on the outside. Mike will have to defend. I think the 11 car will hold it here, but Jordan GORE has a good race car underneath him. I don't think he has the straightaway speed of the other two, but his car is definitely working very well through these corners.
And GORE, for being the youngster of the bunch, really, I think, showing some race smarts there, Cal, by instead of trying to pinch in behind, let it float out to carry his speed. Again, you cannot afford to lose momentum. But that little battle between second and third has given Schofield his biggest margin thus far.
If your name is Hill Clark, you're not going to end up being a famous tennis player. But it took Hill a long time to actually start to achieve his lifelong dream. Why so long before getting into the car?
Well, there's always the family commitments, and along with that comes the work. And at the turn of the millennium, I was able to retire from the corporate world, so I needed to have both my knees replaced.
Now, when it came to Spec Racer Ford, has this particular class, is it everything you thought it would be?
It's a wonderful class, very competitive. It's very much a spec class. And the drivers, it's all about the drivers and how well they can perform. I've had a very good year this year. My first win, I've added 4 to that. I'm leading a Carolina Cup championship that I hope to, at the end of this month, clinch on my 64th birthday. All I can say to the people out there is, if you're interested in going racing, get off the couch, try Spec Racer Ford.
Where have we heard the get off the couch line earlier this weekend? Maybe that was the impetus for Business Report on that, but he's absolutely right. This is where you can do it, and you heard Hill Clark say that he got his knees replaced, which is another type of rebirth as well, along with retirement, and decided to go racing. And 4 big wins this year, as he talked about. That's a great story.
It really is, and look at a great story here, right up front. Miserandino. Jordan GORE got around him on that last lap, but right now the positions have been reversed once again. So Jordan GORE at the stripe had second spot, but Mike has made the move, and this has allowed Brian Schofield to spread the lead just a little bit further.
Well, that's the whole thing in this, is if you can get a couple of guys battling, whether you're behind them, that allows you to close up. If you're in front of them, it allows you to gap as long as you don't make any mistakes. And Schofield has shown both great aggression and also just a tremendous ability to run fast lap time and again. Now look at what happened here. That's Gore. Look at that line. Wow.
Well, Miserandino was way off the pace there. We kind of caught that one late, as if he had some kind of issue before the corner. Coming through the chicane, he may have run wide through that 8-9 section. We've seen that happen a lot today, and he came off that corner with no speed, and Jordan Gore just whipped on by. Mike got the position back further into that lap.
Well, Calvin, right there, it looked like Schofield carried too much, just a smidge too much speed into turn 13 and 14. You could hear the tire squeal as he pushed, and that margin he had evaporated, and Miserandino was right there. Meanwhile, back in the pack a little bit, looking at the number 29 of Sellenreich, and boy, he's been in a few battles today, and he's duking it out now with the 49 of Carl Harris. It is the battle for 8th. Sellenreich has it, and Harris and that yellow Spec Racer Ford, and he got a good run. Let's see if he pops. He's looking. He comes up along the inside. Oh, he read that perfectly.
He really did. I mean, just ducked out from underneath him, and that's the key. Relatively low horsepower, but big bodywork. Punches a big hole in the air and allows the car coming up behind to catch that draft, that toe effect, and just slide on by if you can time it there after the kink. Great job.
And when we're talking about these components of these cars, you know, not a lot of horsepower, big bodywork. That's all by design to create exactly this type of racing and make this type of racing affordable, because you can't just go out and buy horsepower, buy aero. And oh, John Black is in. Black, who was one of the favorites for a medal here, certainly, and potentially a gold, is parked. Look at the back of the car. He had, remember that front grille was closed up.
Well, he was running 4th, and then we saw him duck into pit lane as we were watching that battle on the racetrack. So a few little oil drops on the floor. I'm not that sure if that's from that car or one in the previous races, but his day is over. What a disaster for John Black.
Well, like I said, sometimes when those grill openings get squeezed shut like that and you overheat a little bit, it can just cook the engine, and that can do it. And look at this, we've had a change of position. 49 Carl Harris has snuck around Sellenreich now on the backside of the track and has picked up that 6th spot, with Jeff Beck watching the two of them duke it out in that multicolored machine right behind them here. Boy, Harris really throwing it around there. He lost a little bit of that momentum. The car stepped out just a bit. Now back up front, this battle continues. Schofield, Miserandino, and then now a bit of a gap back to Gore. Miserandino is as close as he has been, and Schofield knows it, and again stays right. Miserandino going to try that outside line. He almost pulled it off before, but you see Schofield dissuade him just a little bit, didn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are fighting hard, and I tell you what, my money right now is on Jordan Gore, because I think this one could end in tears. The way these two guys are going after, I think Mike Miserandino has a faster race car, but Brian Schofield is just very aggressive today.
And so Jordan Gore hoping to, if not having the outright pace, to perhaps be the opportunist, and it's going to come up with these next 3 laps. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka, and the battle, the war that is unfolding in Spec Racer Ford continues. Oh, Miserandino going to try and just shove it down the inside into 13. Got him loosened up now. See if he can make a counter move, try and come down underneath. 61 Schofield trying to just carry the speed. Side by side they come. Boy, this is about as dead even as it's going to get. We will be starting our penultimate lap coming up. Jordan Gore looking for any opportunity. Miserandino again stuck to the outside. Oh boy, this, Calvin, you said it could end in tears. Miserandino, no, not going to be able to make it work. And again, Gore just not quite close enough.
No, he just seems to be about a car length short down that straightaway, and I'm not sure why that would be. I mean, all of the engines are supposed to be identical, but certainly there can be a couple of horsepower between them, and that'll make the difference. Here we see a great battle continue between the 49 and the 29.
Harris, Sellenreich, and right now in that mix, that 31 behind them of Jeff Beck. And coming along for the ride is the 76 De La Torriente. And oh, here we go, Miserandino has looked like he just sort of shoved his way by and has made the pass. And Jordan Gore thinking about it as well. But this is some tremendous racing. Cut and thrust. And Miserandino right now coming out of 6 up through that high-speed 7. See what he could do here.
I think he has the fastest car, Greg. I think he needs to get out front. If he can gap Schofield, then maybe he can hang on for his 3rd gold medal. But Schofield recognizes he has to be aggressive. He knows that Mike has a strong car.
Here's a look at it.
This is a dive down at the inside for turn 5, and he trades paint a little bit, pushes him out wide. Gore is right there as well, and he's just being very patient. He is not being aggressive, whereas Schofield certainly is. Another look at it. Mike down the inside. Brian tries to defend, but it's too late. And then Jordan Gore just watching all of this develop.
And as they come down through the final sequence of corners, the autocross onto the front straight, John Bizignano, Miserandino has himself a margin, and Schofield gets very sideways. That's momentum loss,
yes,
and that's helping Miserandino. Biz?
Well, just very quick about the 11 and 61 car. The 11 car felt on the grid that they had hit a setup and they hadn't really done a lot to the car since they got here all weekend long, whereas 61 felt that he left time on the track even in final qualifying. So they did a lot to the car right before the race. It seems to be paying off for him.
Well, it was some good stuff, but Schofield really got a little crossed up. Meanwhile, the battling continues. Is selling right now. He's going to pop it. Look at Jeff Beck trying to squeeze between both of them. Beck's just trying to figure out which guy to run with here. Around the outside, Beck's tucked in. Oh, this is going to be interesting down into turn 2. And Beck has the exit speed. Oh, 76. That is deleterious. It's the second time he's been off track. He has fought so hard to get back into this group.
He has. I mean, he's made up so much ground, Greg, and he had a great run going there as they were fighting out. And here we see Miserandino. He's taken off here. That third gold certainly looks on the cards now, but this is a battle for second. Schofield and Gore continue.
Well, Miserandino's last lap of 49.5, Schofield's a 50.6, so that is the reason for that margin. But you have to wonder, Cal, if maybe now Schofield in that very aggressive defense used that car up, used those Goodyears up a little bit much. And boy, look at...
I love that line that Jordan Gore has through the middle of that chicane. Just uses the unweighted side of the car to trim the grass there. Doesn't do any suspension damage and shortcuts the track. He's going to have a go here. He's looking for the inside of Schofield. He has to be aggressive here if he wants that silver medal.
That's called straightening out the chicane, no question. But here we are. We're on the final lap. This is what it's all about. Now, Schofield was real loose here. I think Schofield knows, though, I don't have a gold at this point. Hang on to the silver. Miserandino accelerates out. He is going to get his third straight. A true hat trick in the same class and the Triple Crown with the division in sprints win. Look at that. They are celebrating down there. Schofield second, and Jordan Gore gets the medal he just missed out on last year.
And Miserandino takes the Triple Crown, the June Sprints, the Division Championship, and the Runoffs. Look at this battle.
This is the battle for 11th. The 07, he is in the middle of a fight. Joe Turner with the 22 right there, Richard Baldwin. 52 has actually snuck by them. Tripcoast was behind one of them, so a good run there. And here we go to the line. They are going to follow that way, and behind them, Frank Stone in that red machine right there. He survives a battle of his own with the 25 of J.D. Fetzing. That was spec racer racing at its best, and what the runoffs are all about. When you win a gold medal, you ought to have to earn it. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka. A fabulous Spec Racer Ford National Championship decided. There are your top 5. The top 3 are medal winners, and the gold medal winner is with Biz.
I've won many things. This is your 3rd consecutive championship, but that has got to be one of the greatest victories in your entire career.
Oh, without a doubt. That was one tough race. I had some contact with Brian. I apologize for that. He didn't give me much room, but, you know, I chalk it up to hard racing. I hope he does the same. He's a good competitor. But oh my gosh, that was such a tough race. I can't believe it.
Congratulations on the Triple Crown, and congratulations on your 3rd gold medal.
Thank you very much.
Justin.
Well, I'm obviously here with Brian Schofield. Great second place. I mean, our winner just said he apologized for a bit of touching you. He hoped it was down to fair contact, fair racing. It was an amazing race to watch.
Yeah, it was. Mike and I battled pretty hard together. When he got into me one time real bad, it messed up my toe in my right rear, and I was just loose from there on and couldn't do anything with him. But, you know, it's a good race. I'm glad to see Jordan up there with me. I was hoping he was going to be up there and help me contend and bring it back to the East Coast.
Well, it doesn't look like you need much help. You were great out there. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much. Well, I'll tell you what, that was a fabulous battle indeed, and that pass, he was alongside before there was contact. I think that was just good, hard racing, and that's how it goes sometimes when you're battling that fiercely. Take a look now at the unofficial results. We'll show you the full field. Jeff Beck did pick up a couple of spots. I think the guy who passed more cars than anybody else out there was Hector De La Torriente. After that early spin to the back of the pack, almost to fifth, and then back again and up through the pack. And Ken Tripkos earning his stripes as the competition director for SCCA, and understanding, of course, problems for John Black, a former medalist, James MARINANGEL, big crash, and Lee Fleming, a former medalist as well. Some struggles. So some amazing racing that has unfolded, Cal. I'll tell you what, when you know, Spec Racer Ford, this is in a lot of ways pure racing. It doesn't take a huge budget to do it, and it truly, a great driver makes the difference.
It really can, and some tremendous racing today. You're going to trade paint a little bit because they don't have a big speed differential. Good, clean racing up front, and I think the podium finish was the way it should have finished.
Absolutely, and of course, congratulations to Jordan Gore, the bronze medal, and a very aggressive and fun drive. And up front, 61 Schofield, a second silver, and to Mike Miserandino, a hat trick of golds as well as the Triple Crown. A fabulous race. Congratulations to Mike and his crew. From Cal, from Justin, and from Biz, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.